Good evening, good evening, good evening. How is everyone doing this fine Friday evening? I have a couple of webinars I have to speak on tonight. So I figured let's talk about some common mistakes I see that businesses do, which is causing them business funding denials, okay? So if you don't know, I am doing a free masterclass in May called Money May, where I'm going to be breaking down how to get funding in your business that's going to be based solely on the business EIN. So we're not talking about the different funding strategies, that you can use if you want to personally fund your business, if you want to, be a personal guarantor, if you want to, be personally responsible for getting the money. I'm not talking about those techniques. I'm going to be talking about in May how to get funding that's solely in the business EIN. So what we have to do to, build that credit profile up, what our business structure needs to be, and what are the different methods of getting business funding that's solely in the business EIN. So if you are interested in joining my free masterclass, if you're on my Instagram page, type in money in the chat and a link will be sent to you. If you're on my TikTok page, just click that first link in the bio and you want to hit that first link to sign up for my masterclass. Okay, so when we're talking about funding, one of the most important things is that our business structure is bankable, right? That we have a proper structure that the banks like. So the first thing we want to make sure is that we want to make sure that we have a business address on our articles of organization, or our certificate of organization, or our articles of incorporation. So if you are an LLC or a corporation, you may be working out of your home. You may be making a lot of money out of your home, right? But every business needs to have a corporate headquarters. Every business needs to have some kind of business address. So for that reason, we don't really want to have our home address on our LLC documents. Now, when I'm talking about funding, I'll be talking about how to establish business credit, and I'll also be talking about how to win business grants. If you're applying for business grants, it is best that we have a virtual address, but if we don't have a virtual address, it's not going to be like a deal breaker when it comes to getting funding via business grants. However, when you're talking about getting funding via business credit, having a home address flags you as high risk. So post all of the pandemic fraud, during COVID, everyone had a home business, right? And so a lot of people did not pay back those loans. So for that reason, banks are now requiring businesses or underwriters to kind of scrutinize the business a little bit more. So for that reason, we need to have a business address. So if that was concealer. If your business, if you're working from home, if you don't quite have a business address, then you want to get a virtual address, okay? A virtual address is not a P.O. box. It's not the post office. It's not the UPS store. A virtual address is going to be an actual commercial address that you can basically rent out. So you'll pay, $40, $50 a month to be able to rent this commercial address. So it's not going to be a P.O. box. It's not going to be anything at the post office, anything with mailbox service. It's not that. When you go into a virtual office, there's actually going to be a secretary at the front desk, right? Welcoming you to whatever is the location. They're going to have conference rooms there. So if you actually wanted to meet with a client, they have conference rooms that you can actually, rent out and use for meetings. So it's going to be an actual physical address that has working office space in it. So not a P.O. box, not the UPS store, not anything like that. So when the bank is Googling your business address, some kind of commercial property pops up. We don't want an apartment popping up. We don't want a house popping up. We don't want anything residential popping up because it's going to flag us as high risk, okay? Now, when I'm going over business funding, I'm talking about establishing business credit that is solely in the business EIN, okay? There are other ways, there are other methods of establishing, there's other ways of getting funding for your business, but that's going to require you to be a personal guarantor. So what I'm going to be talking about is how to get business funding solely in the business EIN, okay? So we got to first make sure we have a good business structure. So we have to have an entity, LLC or corporation, and we need to have a business address listed on our articles of organization or our articles of incorporation or whatever it is that your state uses, okay? Besides having an LLC, we need to have an active LLC, okay? So a lot of times people will form their business, get the LLC, but every state requires either an annual report or an annual fee to be paid to keep the LLC active, right? So LLCs are regulated at the state level. If we have not filed our annual report, if we have not paid our annual fee, then the state is going to make our LLC inactive. So just like when you went to go open up your business bank account, they're going to do a search with the Secretary of State to make sure that this business is an active entity. When you're going for, if you're going for funding, they're going to do the same thing. They're going to check your state's Secretary of State to make sure that your LLC is not just formed, but that it's active, okay? So the second common mistake is going to be applying or trying to establish business credit and your LLC is inactive. If you're trying to get business grants, once again, your LLC has to be active, okay? They're not going to award you a grant and your entity is inactive. So if you have an inactive LLC, you want to go on ahead and contact your Secretary of State or whoever is the governing board that regulates the LLCs. Like for Texas, it'll be the Texas Comptroller's Office, about what you need to, what forms you need to fill out and for what years, so that you can go ahead and reactivate your LLC. If you have multiple LLCs, each LLC is an entity, okay? So that means each LLC will be able to apply for business grants. They'll be able to establish business credit. So if you have some inactive LLCs and the fee is not going to be too much to reactivate them, you may want to think about going on ahead and reactivating the LLC. So now we have multiple entities that can now go and get funding for our business, okay? So funding is going to be strategic. Everyone's going to have their own game plan as to what it is that they need, what they're trying to use the money for. But I always believe in stay ready before you get ready, right? So always have an LLC just waiting in the wings, right? So we're going to go ahead and reactivate any kind of old LLCs. Those old LLCs will have something called corporate age. Even if we're not doing anything with them, it's great just to have them sitting in the wings, because once you understand the blueprint of actually how you establish credit in the business EIN, all you have to do now is rinse and repeat or copy the same game plan when it comes to establishing business credit in the rest of your entities. Okay, so whether or not you have multiple businesses, you happen to have multiple LLCs. Oh, my light went out. It's great to go on ahead and start, if you can't build out the credit right now, you're going to at least learn what needs to be done, and then you can go on ahead and start working on building out that other entity's business credit. Okay, so you want to make sure we have a business address and that we our LLC is not inactive. Now, some people are going to be in what's called a high-risk industry. If anything of what I'm saying is making sense or you're interested in learning more, drop money in the chat. If you're on my Instagram page, if you're on my TikTok page, you're going to have to click the link in my bio and hit that first link to join my Money May Challenge. I am doing a free masterclass in May breaking down the different ways of getting funding for your business. That's not you as a personal guarantor. It's not using your social. It's going to be solely on the business EIN. Okay? So, make sure all this is blended for I just, walk around crazy. Some industries are considered high risk. Banks will flag certain industries high risk either based on those types of industries have a lot of chargebacks, or there's a high probability that you will go bankrupt, okay? So high risk industries or industries that banks consider high risk are going to be construction, real estate, car dealerships, CBD, that's cannabis, tax preparation. What am I missing? Car dealership, CBD, tax preparation, construction, real estate, transportation. So, if you're applying for business grants, high risk industries does not matter because the grant is not, you aren't paying back money for a grant, okay? The great thing about business grants is that you don't have to pay the money back. It's going to be free money. So depending on where you are in your business, depending on what your cash flow is, depending on what you can afford to pay, a business grant is not going to affect your bottom line because you don't have to pay the money back. So, business grants are not worried about if you are in a high-risk industry. Now, banks, however, are concerned if you are in a high-risk industry for this reason. They want to make sure that they get paid back. They want to make sure that they get paid back and that you don't go out of business before you pay them back. Or some banks just don't want to deal with the risk associated with dealing with a business that's in a high-risk industry. Now, there are some industries that are considered automatic denials. Like if you are in the sex industry, if you are in the check cashing industry, bail bonds, all those are considered automatic denials. Like they're not even about to play with you. Don't even come over here asking for anything, okay? But if you're in a high-risk industry, number one, you got to have all your I's dotted, all your T's crossed. Number two, the funding amount may not be as high because you are in a high-risk industry. So if you have not already formed your entity and you're thinking about forming your entity and you are in a high-risk industry, you may not want to have that high-risk industry in your LLC name. Okay? So if I want to start a trucking company, I may not want to call my business Joyce Trucking, right? I may not want to have trucking, transportation, logistics, anything that signals that I am in the transportation industry. I may not want to have that in my LLC name, okay? Because it's a high-risk industry and banks frown upon that. If you already have formed your LLC and that's in your name, don't change it, okay? don't change it, because whenever you amend your LLC, so if you want to change your business name, you would have to amend your LLC. Whenever you amend something, so you want to change your business name, you got to update the address, any kind of amendment, you have to always bring the original in with the amendment. So, granted, your amendment or your new LLC is not going to have the high-risk industry in its name, but when you bring the original documentation, they're going to see what the name was originally. So it doesn't make sense to waste your money on amendment, because the bank's going to see it anyway. But if you're going to start a new entity, if you're just starting your entity, then you may want to mask what your industry is on your LLC or corporation documents. Now, if you want to still market yourself in that industry, then you can get either a fictitious name agreement or an assumed name certificate or agreement, or some states may even call it a DBA for an LLC. Okay, but normally they're going to call it a fictitious name or an assumed name, and that's just saying, I'm going to have my LLC be one name, but I'm going to do business in a nickname, okay? So let's just say I have a tax service, right? And I may have want to do like more of a fun tax service. I may have a little ratchet name, but my name is ratchet because I can do a lot of good marketing, but I may not want to have that ratchet name on my banking information. So let's just say my tax service name was Twerk Something Shorty Taxes, right? And I had a cute little I ended up like a cute little man whose name was Shorty and all of that. I may not want Twerk Something Shorty on my bank statements, right? I may not want to, have to be referred to as this, the member of Twerk Something Shorty. It's a little ratchet depending on what audience you're in. But I may be able to get some good marketing on a name. So that's when you would use an assumed name. So if back to the high risk industry, if I was Joyce Trucking, I could have J&L Enterprises. I could have a more generic corporate name, but I could get an assumed name or a fictitious name certificate and do business as Joyce Trucking. But on my banking information, on my corporate documents, my LLC documents, it's just going to say J&J Enterprises, okay? So if you are in a high-risk industry, you may want to mask that or disguise that if you are trying to get maximum funding. So if anything of what I am saying is interesting, type in money in the chat if you're on my Instagram page, and a link will be sent to you to join my free Money May Masterclass. Or if you're on my TikTok page, go ahead and just click that first link in my bio, and you can go ahead and sign up for my free Money May Masterclass. So we're going to have an LLC. It's going to be an active LLC. We're going to have a business address on there. We are going to mask a high-risk industry if we're on a high-risk industry. The next thing we want to make sure is that we have a Dun & Bradstreet number, okay? So, in personal credit, you have TransUnion, you have Equifax, and you have Experian. Well, in business, the three business credit bureaus are going to be Dun & Bradstreet. They're going to be Small Business Experian and Small Business Equifax. So, when we're talking about getting business credit that is solely in the business EIN, you are not going to be a personal guarantor. You are not going to put your social on there. Your business is going to have business credit in its EIN, meaning when they check your business credit report, when they check your Dun & Bradstreet or your Experian or your Equifax, you have to have a certain credit score or a paydex score. So just like if you were trying to go to the bank and get a car, right? They're going to say, well, you got to at least have a 680 FICO score. You're going to, fill your application, you're going to put your social down, and they're going to run your credit. Well, the same works for business credit. Well, the FICO score in business is going to be called a paydex score. A paydex score is going to be your score on Dun & Bradstreet. Dun & Bradstreet is going to be the largest business credit bureau. So, Experian has their own score, the name of their score. Equifax has their own name for their score, but Dun & Bradstreet is going to be the largest business credit bureau, and their score is called a paydex score, Paydex. So we need when you walk in, you got your LLC, and you're talking about, I'm trying to get a line of credit, I'm trying to get a credit card, I'm trying to get some money in my business name. And then you're going to fill out the application. When you put your EIN, they're going, just like how they would check your personal credit score, they're going to check your business credit score. If nothing pops up, then what are they going to say? They're going to say, hey, we need you to be a PG, or we need you to personally guarantee the loan, or we need you to, be a co-signer. But they're going to now come back and ask for your social. Okay? Because 9 out of 10 times, you have not done anything to build your business credit. So just because you form an LLC, you don't automatically have credit. Just like when you're born, you don't automatically have credit. So if an 18-year-old tried to go into Mercedes and finance a $100,000 car, what is Mercedes going to say? They're going to say no, because this 18-year-old boy does not have any credit. Mercedes doesn't know, are you going to pay on time? Are you going to pay late? What you doing? Same with your business, okay? So I'm going to break down real quick what are the 3 or 4 steps to starting to establish business credit. Now, I can't do everything because I'm just, trying to put a little beat on so I can knock out this webinar, but I'm going to break it down kind of in simple terms so everyone should understand, okay? So, number 1, we have to now go establish credit. We have to go get trade lines or accounts that are going to be reporting to our business credit report. So when they pull our business credit score, when they pull our business credit report, there are trade lines, there are things we're being reported, okay? So, I'm sure everyone on this live or on my TikTok live have heard of things like a net 30, a tier 1 trade line. You may have heard of Granger, Quill. You're like, oh, girl, I know you ain't talking about that. I know I'm not on this live to hear about some Granger and Quill. I already got Granger and Quill. I thought you were going to tell me something new. Building business credit is a process, okay? And we got to go through each step the correct way in order to establish business credit. That's too big. So, think of business credit as going through elementary school, junior high, and high school. No matter how smart you are in first grade, there's no way you can go from first grade to being a senior in high school. No way. You got to at least graduate from elementary school, and then you're going to go to junior high, and then you can go to high school, okay? So, in business credit, it's the same thing. Your business is going to start off in kindergarten. Nothing. You have to now go and get accounts to be reporting on your business credit. So, everyone should have a nav.com account, nav.com. Nav.com will serve like Credit Karma. It's going to allow you to check your business credit reports. So you'll be able to see what trade lines, if any, are reporting on your Dun & Bradstreet, on your Small Business Experian, and your Small Business Equifax. This is important because we need to know what's being reported, how many trade lines are being reported, so that we know what level or, what step are we in the credit game. Are we in elementary school? Are we in junior high? Are we in high school? So when you first start out, everyone's going to be in elementary school, okay? We have to now go and get trade lines or accounts onto our credit report. So everyone who's heard of Granger, Quill, Shirtseats, all the little things that you'll see on Instagram people talking about, baby, that's step one. That's step one. Those companies report your purchases to Dun & Bradstreet and the different business credit bureaus. The reason why it's so hard to establish business credit is because most vendors that businesses use don't report to the business credit bureaus. So yes, you may be having an account somewhere, but they're not reporting that payment. We need someone to report the payment. So the reason why everyone talks about these companies is because they report the payments. They already know you're not on their website because you're worried about them. They already know you don't want nothing from them. They already know the only reason why you are here is because someone told you in order to establish business credit, you got to first have one of these accounts. Okay? These different vendors or businesses are going to extend credit to your business with them not knowing if you're going to pay or if you're not going to pay. So, there are several different, I don't know, you want to call them tier 1, net 30, whatever. There are several different vendors that will extend your business credit without them having any kind of knowledge of your payment history. Okay? So, once we get a certain amount of accounts reporting, then we can go to junior high or tier 2. Tier 2 or junior high is going to be store credit cards, and it's going to be gas credit cards. Tier 2 is not going to approve you if you don't have any tier 1 accounts, because they want to see, do you have any tier 1 accounts, how you paying, what's your history like, what you got going on. So a lot of times, the second someone gets an LLC, they run to the bank and they go apply for a credit card, or they run to the bank and they go, try to get a line of credit. Baby, you have gone from kindergarten to high school. It's not going to work. So once you have trade lines reporting to your business credit report, the boring trade lines that nobody wants, now we can go and get store credit cards. A credit card that can be used at a store. So a Best Buy card, Sam's Club, Staples, Office Supply, Home Depot. Or we can go get a fleet card. Shell, Exxon, BP. That's going to be tier 2. Once we have X amount of accounts reporting from tier 2, now we can go to high school. Once again, high school or tier 3, they're not going to approve you unless they like how you were paying in tier 1 and tier 2. Now, tier 3 is going to be cash credit cards that you can use anywhere. So your Chase, your American Express, Capital One, a credit card that you can either use anywhere or a credit card that you can actually pull cash off of, okay? That's going to be tier 3. But tier 3 is only going to approve you if they like what they see or what you were doing with tier 1 and tier 2, or elementary school and junior high, okay? So if any of this stuff is making sense and you want more of a detailed breakdown, and you're on my Instagram page, type in money in the chat. If you are on my TikTok page, click that first link in my bio. I am having a free masterclass called Money May, breaking down how to get business credit that's solely in the business name. Okay? There are other ways of getting funding. I'm talking about for those who either, hey, my credit's already utilized, so my more established business owners, you've already maxed out your credit getting that business going or trying to expand that business. So you're like, girl, I don't have no more. I don't have no more in me. Or maybe my experience with owner, we had to, leave a lease, or we had to, leave something, we couldn't afford something, or maybe y'all got one of the merchant advance loans, and like, hey, like right now, I am not credit worthy to get financing. There are other ways of getting financing that's not going to be linked to your personal social. So I'm just trying to, share other ways to still accomplish what you're trying to get some money for your business. Okay. So high school or tier 3 are going to be your cash credit cards. And last but not least, now let me stop. If that's what you need, I just need a net 30 account. I just need a credit card. If that's what you need for funding, then we're done. Now, for those of you who are like, well, honey, that's good, but baby, I need some money. Like, I need to walk into the bank. I need either a loan or a line of credit. Like, you said funding. See, some people call funding, just, credit cards or net 30s or, all that stuff. And then some people are like, well, no, I need some money in my hand. So if you need some money in your hand, I am transparent. I don't sell wolf tickets, right? I'm not going to make it sound good. If you need money in your hand, then your business needs to be making money. There is no way you can walk into a bank and your business does not have any revenue. Okay, so our business bank statements need to be showing revenue to be able to qualify for a line of credit or a loan. Now, they're going to ask for 90 days of bank statements. So if you have some money sitting somewhere else, you may want to move that over. But in order for you to get any kind of loans or lines of credit, number one, your business is going to have some revenue. Now, you can also get some trade lines, but you cannot walk into the bank and your business is making no money and get you $100,000 loan. Why? The business can't afford it. Remember, I'm talking about straight business funding. So they're not gonna piggyback off your social, off your credit history, off your proof of income. We're wanting the business to stand on its own, okay? So the business needs to have some revenue. So now that you know this, if the business doesn't have some revenue, now we know, hey, 90 days to be proactive. I'll say 120 days before you're trying to go get some money. You need to make sure that there's some money in the account. So, I guess college or tier 4 is going to be going to the bank and getting a line of credit, getting a loan, getting vehicle financing. So that's basically a nutshell. I'm having a free Money May Masterclass that's going to break down a little bit more detail, how to get funding that's solely in your business name, going over how to establish business credit and how to win business grants. Things are going to be just in the business EIN. You are not going to have to be a PG or a personal guarantor on any of what I'm talking about. So if that sounds like something y'all want, and you're on my Instagram page, type in money and a link will be sent to you. If you're on my TikTok page, you're going to have to click that first link in my bio, and there will be a form for you to sign up to get on the waiting list. But that is going to be the gist of establishing business credit. Now, for business grants are not going to be as strict, have as many requirements. Business grants are really good for getting capital for businesses that don't have all what I'm talking about. Okay, so they're very startup friendly. There's no limit to how many business grants you can apply for. Okay, you are going to need to have for most grants, you're going to need to have an EIN, LLC, business bank account. There are some startup grants though that will give you a grant, and you only got to have is a business ID. You don't even have to have an LLC yet. But for the most part, most grants are going to want you to have an LLC. The great thing about business grants, I always tell people, is number one, they're not based on credit, okay? They're not based on credit. There's no limit to how many you can apply for. And So there is no database that's checking to see, ooh, she applied for this many grants. I always tell business owners, apply for 5 to 10 grants every single month. Just the more grants you apply for, number one, it's going to increase the likelihood of you winning. Number two, you're now going to feel more confident in applying for the business grant. And then it's a great way to get funding in all throughout the year. So you're not just applying for one grant and then you're waiting, when you need additional funds, you're just waiting. I apply for 5 to 10 grants every single month. I have a grant bundle on my website. It's $99. It's going to give you the link to over 900 business grants. I'm going to have training courses in there. I should have done this before my highlighter. I'm going to have training courses in that are going to go over what you need to win a business grant, what to ask for, what not to ask for. It's $99 and you have lifetime access, okay? So that's going to be one way to find business grants. Another way to find business grants will be just to Google business grants, right? You're only looking for business grants. It doesn't have to be in your industry. So if you're a realtor, you don't have to find a realtor business grant. You can just find you a small business grant. Most categories will be small business, women-owned business, minority-owned business, veteran-owned business. Okay, so you don't have to find, I'm in construction, is there a construction grant? I'm in this. All you need is a small business grant. Another great thing about business grants is you don't have to pay the money back, okay? So, depending on where your business is cash flow wise, maybe you can't afford another note. If you go and max these credit cards out, that's great, but on the first, baby, that bill is due. If our business is pre-revenue or if our revenue isn't consistent, tackling on some more debt may not be what we want. Another thing that I love about business grants is that most grant applications are going to be online asking you the questions. So you're not having to fill out a 20-page grant proposal. You don't have to have a PhD in language arts or be a professional writer. They're going to ask you some simple questions like, why did you start your business? What challenges, did you face in starting your business? Why do you need the money? What are you going to use the money for? And then, how is your business basically different than the competition? You'll see when you're applying for business grants, it's going to be the same question asked over and over again. So once you come up with your answers and you save them, you're really just copy and pasting. That's how simple it is. So I always tell business owners, take one Sunday. Take one Sunday out of the month, map out what grants you want to apply for, and go apply for 5 to 10 grants. And every single month, apply for business grants. As you're filling out the applications, you're going to get more confident with the answers. You may even remix your answers. But in my grant bundle, I have training course. I also have a Teach Me How to Write a Grant Masterclass where I kind of go in more detail about what you need to do. But in my Money May free masterclass coming in May, I'm going to break down how to fill the grant applications, how to win a business grant. So if you're like, hey, I want to learn how to do business grants, type in money in the chat. If you're on my Instagram page and my TikTokers, click that first link in my bio and go ahead and get on the waiting list for my free masterclass. So, for anyone who says, I will start my business, but I'm waiting on some money. Well, buckle up, okay? Because May, I'm breaking it down. So now there will be no reason as to why we are not getting funding for our business. Now, I will also say this, when it comes to getting funding for your business, you need to have a plan. What is the money for? When we get the money, what are we going to be doing with the money? Because the biggest misconception that entrepreneurs have is, oh, when I get this money, when I get this inventory, when I get this office, when I get this equipment, when I get whatever it is that you're trying to get, that now I'll be able to do my business. Well, baby, no. That's not the case. The most important part of a business is its marketing plan. How you going to get the customer to you? So, if you're pre-revenue, meaning your business isn't really making a lot of money, or if our sales aren't consistent, we need to be getting a marketing plan. And a marketing plan isn't hiring a company. You got to know who is your target audience. Who is your product or service for? Well, I want to sell it to everybody. You can't. No company can sell to everybody. You got to have a target audience. McDonald's. Can McDonald's sell to everybody? There are some people that love McDonald's. There are some people that's going to say it's fake food and it's this, it's unhealthy, boom, boom, boom. Walmart. Can Walmart sell to everybody? You know, some people are gung-ho and they love Walmart. Other people are like, ooh, girl, Walmart is ghetto. I ain't got time for all the bonnets and slides and slippers. No one can sell to everyone, okay? So, funding is, a lot of times people think they need funding because they're not making enough money to pay their bills. If you're not making enough money to pay your bills, you don't need funding, you need a marketing plan. What are you selling, right? What are you selling? Who needs your product or your service? Who is your target audience? And once you realize what you're selling, who your target audience is, where are they, and go get them. You have to go get your client and bring them to you. I know on social media they're going to say, get your LLC and buy my course, and you know, you're going to post on Instagram one time, and you're going to be at the beach, you know, relaxing, and don't work for no job, work for yourself so you can set your own hours. Baby, let me tell you about something. Don't quit that job unless you want to work more. I don't know no entrepreneur who working less than 40 hours a week. Don't know nary one. I don't know no entrepreneur who's working less than 40 hours a week, okay? So, entrepreneurship is hard. Getting a product or a service out there to customers is hard, okay? So, to make it easy, you got to know exactly who is my person, and now I'm going right to that person. I'm a market right to that person. I can advertise right to that person. If I'm trying to advertise to everybody, nothing's going to stick. For example, let me give what kind of company do I want to use? Who do I want to use today? Who I want to use today? Fashion Nova. I like a little Fashion Nova. Fashion Nova is going to be that affordable, fun, fashion-forward clothing, right? If Fashion Nova's target audience is going to be a 20 to at the maybe a late 30, 40-year-old, but they're really trendy, they're really into clothes, and they really want affordable fashion. Okay? Now, they're marketing to those people. They're not marketing to the 60-year-old. They're not marketing to the 50-year-old. They're not marketing to a conservative person. They're not marketing to, they're marketing to a fun Miami, turn up, girls trip. That's their target audience. Now, if Fashion Nova went and did a $10 million ad spend and they bought out all of the programs at all of the churches in America and was advertising to the deacon board, all the first ladies, Sister Odell, and they'll be wasting money. Well, why? Because a first lady, the choir, a church, that's not Fashion Nova's target audience. I'm not saying that there may not be a fun first lady when she's on vacation, or Sister Odell or someone in the choir won't shop at Fashion Nova or won't shop at Fashion Nova for a gift, but that's not Fashion Nova's target audience. A lot of times when you don't know who you're marketing to, you don't know how to market. If you're on my page, you probably stumbled because you saw me jigging somewhere, right? Now, if I was trying to market my business services to a Fortune 500 company, and I'm over here jigging and, doing the wobble wobble, well, maybe they're going to be like, well, honey, we're looking for an attorney that's going to be in a black suit, with, minimal makeup and real conservative. That's not my target audience, right? So you have to know who you're marketing to and then go where they are. When I first started practicing law, out of law school, I went and worked for a tax and asset protection firm. And I would fly every single day of the week from Monday to Thursday to different corporations, telling them why their business structure was wrong, why they need a holding company, and how to protect their assets and different tax beneficial 401k plans, all that good stuff, right? Well, when I went on my own, I'm old, so it's going to be circa 2006. Baby, entrepreneurship wasn't it. Everyone back then was a 6-figure job. That's what was hot. So I didn't have a lot of entrepreneur clients. So I had to go practice criminal law. Because, baby, everyone was, that was where I can get clients. So where are criminals? Where are people who are catching crimes? Where are they? Well, they're going to be at the club, right? Because at the club, everyone's turned up. They're going to be in a fight. They're going to be drunk. So I will go to the club 3 days a week. During the week, when people who really didn't have a job will be out in the club with my business card and a suit, passing my card out. Back then, there was no Facebook. There was no Instagram. There was no social media. You had to actually have a business card, and that's how you got your number out to people. So I'm at the club 3 days a week in my suit. Everyone who comes and talks to me, I'm passing my card out, right? That's where the criminals are. So at night, I'll be at the club. In the morning, I will be in court. Now, when I first started, I didn't have nary a client. I'm going to court. I'm going to walk to the front, pick up some files, act like I'm doing something, and then I'm going to leave. Everyone who was in the club who got my card will recognize me. Hey, aren't you that girl on the club? No. Pass my card out. Who's sitting in court? Who is my target audience if I'm practicing criminal law? Either it's going to be the criminal or the person who's paying for the attorney fees. So who's sitting in the courthouse if he's in jail? The baby mama, the girlfriend, the mama, the sister. My target audience, right? So I would pick up so many clients just going to court, going to court, picking up some paperwork, walking outside, and the clients are running to me. Hey, I need you. Hey, I need you. Hey, I need you. Where is your target audience at? Where are they hanging out at? If I'm selling yoga fits, I should be hanging out at mom and me events. I should be at all of the health and fitness gyms, and on the weekend we're going to have, a cardio session out at the park. I'm going to be at Whole Foods. I'm going to be at a fair that has organic fruit, because yoga, Pilates people are healthy and they're gluten free, and that's my target audience. So if I'm doing a pop-up shop at a Potworks yoga studio where they already wear my stuff, I'm having my things there, I'm setting my stuff right there in front of my target audience. They're going to be chasing after me because I'm giving them something that they want. But if I'm trying to just do a general marketing campaign and I want to just market everyone, that's not how you market. So after I'm getting my clientele up, where are the real criminals? Who can pay me $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 and not flinch, right? The strip club. So I went to the strip club, talked to the owner. I had my picture and my advertisement on the back of the bathroom stall in the men's and women's bathroom. Well, why? Well, what's going on in the strip club? Prostitution, possession with the intent to distribute, assault and battery, and a whole lot of other stuff, right? So I'm putting myself right where my target audience is. When you're marketing, number one, who is your target audience? Once you learn who that is, go to where they are. And that's how you market. It's not just boosting my Instagram posts. It's not just having an influencer post my things. You got to know exactly how to go out there and bring your client to you. I probably should do a little marketing May. But I'm doing Money May. I got to think about something. I got to think about something. Or think of a cute little J word for June. But anywho, I got to get on this webinar, y'all. If y'all interested in learning how to get funding for your business solely in the business EIN, type in money in the chat. If you're on my Instagram page, if you're on my TikTok page, click that first link in my bio to sign up for the waiting list for my free Money May Masterclass. I'm going to be going over how to establish business credit that is solely in the business name, and I'm going to be going over how to win business grants. And I'm going to be going over how we need to have our business structured so that we can go and get business funding that is solely in our business name, okay? Everyone have a fabulous Friday night, and I will, of course, see you at the bank.